Hello and welcome to Soldier Stories, a film consisting of some of the most compelling stories from one of the most compelling wars in US history, Vietnam. These stories, told firsthand by the soldiers that experienced them, will give you an idea of what an emotional and life-changing experience the war in Vietnam really was. So sit back, relax, and remember, these aren't your average bedtime stories. Well, I've got kind of a tragic love story for y'all. When I was in the war, I was in love with this college girl named Martha. She was quite a bit younger than me at the time, but I loved her so much. Much to my chagrin, I knew this love was unrequited, although I would never have admitted it. We were good friends, and she would always send me letters and things. They weren't love letters, but I pretended they were, and I kept every single one of them with me at all times. Oh, and I also had a picture of her playing volleyball that I obsessed over a little bit. Well, anyway, you get the point. I loved this girl. Naturally, I thought about her all the time. I couldn't get her out of my mind, you know? Even when I shouldn't have been thinking about her, I was thinking about her. I'd be in the middle of giving some important orders or something, and all I could think about was Martha. Well, one day that caught up to me. You see, I was sitting around one day. We do a lot of that, sitting around in Nam, because we weren't always fighting. Most of the time we were just sitting. Anyway, my good friend, Ted Lavender, he comes up to me and he tells me he's got to go to the bathroom. Now normally, the safest thing to do would have been to send somebody with him. But I was thinking about Martha's good lucky pebble that she gave me, and I just nodded, I guess. Well, Ted never got back. Yeah. I guess, one caught him in the head. Oh, he's going to the bathroom. Yeah, it took me a while to get over that. I blame myself for that. For so long. Anytime his name was mentioned, or even if I just thought about him, I'd either go into a wild rage or I'd just break down crying. I mean, it's one thing when you're responsible for killing guys you don't know, but it's a whole other thing when you're responsible for the death of your best friend. Yeah, that took me a really long time to get over, but I have, I think, gotten over it. I still think about him a lot, but I don't let it get to me like it did back then. One thing that really helped me get over it was Ted's family. Yeah, I got to talk to them, and they helped me realize that it wasn't really my fault. I mean, it's war, and yeah, so many things happen, but yeah, they're really nice people, and I got some good closure with them. Yeah, I'd say it's definitely near impossible to have left that war without some kind of emotional damage done, you know. But I like to think that damage made me stronger today. That's my story. Well, my war story actually takes place before I even entered into Vietnam. It's a draft story. Everybody's got a draft story, but mine was pretty strange. Yeah, I was pretty against the whole war, actually, before I was drafted. I wouldn't say I was like an activist or anything like that, but I did write my fair share of editorials for the school newspaper and such. Well, anyway, when I got drafted, I just couldn't believe it. How was I supposed to fight a war that I didn't even understand why we were in this war? I just wasn't for it, and to me it was like, you know, the epitome of hypocrisy, you know. I needed to find a way out of it. For a while, I thought about running away to Canada to dodge the draft, but I was too scared at first. One day I finally just did. I drove up to Canada, got in my 1950 Nova, drove up to Canada. I was scared. I was running away from my country, I felt like, but I just couldn't enter this war. I drove as long as I could without stopping, but eventually I did. I stopped at this little motel called the Tip Top Lodge, and the guy who owned it, he was really old. It was a little hickish guy named Elroy Burdall. Well, I ended up staying there for 6 days with Elroy, and we ate meals together and played Scrabble and stuff, but we never really talked that much. He never even asked me why a young guy like me was staying at his little motel there for 6 days, for almost an entire week. He never asked me why I was there, but that was probably because he already knew. But I wouldn't admit that now. But well, the Tip Top Lodge just happened to be a 20-minute boat ride from Canada across the lake, and almost every night I'd go outside and get in that little canoe and head over to Canada, but I'd always come back. I was too scared. And well, one day Elroy took me out on that boat to go fishing, and we sat there 20 yards away from the Canadian border. I knew what he was doing though, giving me the ultimatum, either go to war or just run away from everything. Well, as you can tell, I chose war. Maybe I was his chicken or what, but I don't know. But I ended up going back, and I'm still not sure if that was the right decision. But sometimes I wonder what would have happened if I had jumped off that boat and ran away. Yeah, so I'd say that was probably the strangest week of my life, up there at the Tip Top Lodge. That's my draft story. Alright? We're on. Alright. Well, this particular story is a good example of how crazy that war could get you. Well, let's start it off. I'll give you a little setting for it. Well, it started off in this really rainy day, and everyone was in a bad mood for one reason or another. I don't know. It was Nam. Everybody was in a bad mood all the time. Anyway, I couldn't find this jackknife, and for some reason I was positive that this guy named Lee Strunk had stolen it from me. When I asked him, he denied it, and I got really mad. Well, we ended up getting in this little scuffle, a little of that. Ended up breaking the guy's nose. It's right, yeah, I know. It'll get you crazy up there. But anyway, I really can't even remember if Strunk had the knife or not. All I know is that I just popped him one, broke his nose. Broke his nose. Anyway, all I know is that after that incident, I was so paranoid of Strunk. I thought he was just gonna come after me and get his revenge on me, It drove me insane for the next week and a half. Well, I couldn't sleep. I'd always be avoiding him, and I was just an absolute case, Well, one day I just couldn't take it anymore, and I broke my own nose just to make it even. I don't even remember how. I think I smacked myself in the face with a gun until it just cracked. I wouldn't do it again, I'll tell you that. But I did it then, and well, after that, after Strunk found out that I did that, we actually became really good friends. We even made this pact that if either of us were to go down on that field, the other would, finish us off. I mean, like, we did not want to be a cripple after this war. We just want to be done. So anyway, well, it turns out, just our luck, Strunk does go down on the field, big minefield. Well, it really tore me apart, trying to figure out what to do afterwards. He was my best friend, dude. I didn't want to just kill him, but we made that pact, and I didn't know what to do. Luckily, Strunk didn't want me to kill him either, and he made me promise that I wouldn't, so that was cool. But he he died a few days later. That was kind of like a bittersweet thing because my best friend had died, but it took a weight off my back because I wasn't the one that had to kill him. Yeah, I got a lot of stories about Nam, but that's the one that really sticks with me. Kind of sums up the rest of them, I guess.